In every organization, leaders are constantly making decisions. Decisions about performance, decisions about people, decisions about processes, and almost all of those decisions are based on data. But here's the problem. Most leaders don't struggle with a lack of data. They struggle with a lack of understanding of variation within that data. Because not all variation means something is wrong, and not all improvement means something got better. Welcome to Chapter 60 of Total Quality Management. Statistical Thinking for Leaders, Making Sense of Variation. Statistical thinking is not about complex formulas, advanced mathematics, or becoming a data scientist. At its core, statistical thinking is about understanding that every process produces variation, and that variation tells a story, if you know how to interpret it. Every output in your organization, whether it's delivery time, defect rate, customer satisfaction, or production yield, will fluctuate. No 2 days are exactly the same. No 2 parts are perfectly identical. No 2 customer experiences are completely consistent, and that's normal. Statistical thinking begins when leaders stop asking, "Why did this number change?" and start asking, "Is this change meaningful?" That distinction is where better decisions begin. One of the most important concepts in statistical thinking is the difference between common cause variation and special cause variation. Common cause variation is the natural, expected fluctuation built into a process. It's the noise. It comes from small, everyday factors, minor differences in materials, environment, people, or timing. Individually, these factors are insignificant. Together, they create a predictable range of outcomes. If your process is stable, this variation will fall within consistent limits. Special cause variation, on the other hand, is different. It represents something unusual, something outside the normal system, a machine malfunction, a missed step in a process, a supplier issue, a human error that isn't typical. This is the signal. The critical mistake many leaders make is reacting to common cause variation as if it were special. They see a bad day and launch an investigation. They see a good day and celebrate a breakthrough. They see fluctuation and assume instability. But when leaders react to noise as if it were signal, they create chaos. They overcorrect. They frustrate teams. They destabilize processes that were actually performing normally. Great leaders do the opposite. They learn to distinguish signal from noise and act accordingly. There is a famous demonstration in quality management called the funnel experiment, introduced by W. Edwards Deming. It shows what happens when people adjust a process in response to random variation. Imagine dropping a marble through a funnel, aiming for a target. If the marble lands slightly off-center, you might be tempted to adjust the funnel before the next drop. But if you keep adjusting the funnel based on each result, you actually make the variation worse, not better. This is exactly what happens in organizations. Leaders see variation and immediately react. They tweak processes, they change instructions, they intervene unnecessarily, and instead of improving performance, they increase inconsistency. Statistical thinking teaches leaders restraint. Not every fluctuation requires action. Sometimes, the best decision is to do nothing and observe. Before you can improve a process, you need to understand whether it is stable. A stable process is one that is predictable within a known range of variation. That doesn't mean it's perfect. It doesn't mean it meets customer requirements. It simply means it behaves consistently. An unstable process, on the other hand, is unpredictable. It contains special causes of variation that must be identified and addressed before meaningful improvement can occur. This is where many organizations go wrong. They try to improve processes that are not stable. They chase performance targets without understanding the underlying system. They implement changes on top of chaos. And the result is frustration, wasted effort, and limited progress. Statistical thinking flips this approach. First, stabilize the process, then, improve the system. One of the most powerful tools for understanding variation is the control chart. A control chart is not just a graph, it's a decision-making tool. It shows how a process performs over time, with a central average and calculated limits that represent expected variation. When data points fall within these limits, the process is behaving normally. When data points fall outside, or show specific patterns, it signals that something unusual is happening. What makes control charts so powerful is that they help leaders avoid overreaction. Instead of responding to every up and down, leaders can focus only on meaningful signals. This creates consistency in decision-making. It builds trust within teams, and it aligns actions with actual process behavior, not assumptions. Even experienced leaders can misinterpret variation. Why? Because humans are wired to see patterns, even when they don't exist. We are uncomfortable with randomness. We want explanations. We want causes. We want control. So when performance dips, we ask, what went wrong? When performance improves, we ask, what did we do right? But without statistical thinking, those answers are often incorrect. We assign meaning where there is none. We reinforce the wrong behaviors. We punish or reward based on noise, and over time this erodes both performance and culture. Statistical thinking helps leaders step back, to pause, to question assumptions, and to make decisions based on evidence, not instinct alone. So, what does this look like in practice? It starts with a shift in mindset. Leaders must begin to see processes as systems that produce outcomes, not as isolated events. Instead of reacting to individual results, they look at trends over time. Instead of asking who's responsible, they ask what in the system produced the result. Instead of demanding immediate action, they seek understanding first. They create an environment where data is used to learn, not to blame. They encourage teams to monitor performance visually. They support the use of control charts and process capability analysis, and most importantly, they model disciplined thinking, because statistical thinking is not just a tool, it's a leadership behavior. Statistical thinking aligns directly with the core pillars of total quality management. It strengthens data-driven decision-making by ensuring data is interpreted correctly. It supports the process approach by focusing on system behavior rather than individual outcomes. It enables continuous improvement by identifying true opportunities for change. It reinforces employee involvement by removing fear and focusing on learning instead of blame. It enhances customer focus by improving consistency and predictability, and it contributes to an integrated system where decisions are aligned across the organization. At its heart, statistical thinking is about clarity. Clarity in what the data is telling you, clarity in when to act and when not to. Clarity in understanding your processes, because leadership is not about reacting faster, it's about reacting smarter. When leaders understand variation, they stop chasing noise, they stop making unnecessary changes, they start building stable, capable systems. And that is where real quality begins. In the world of total quality management, those who understand variation lead with precision. Thank you for joining me in Chapter 60. Check out our other training videos in this series, where we continue to delve deeper into the 6 pillars of total quality management, as well as tools, benefits, and how to implement TQM in your organization. Thank you for joining, and don't forget to subscribe for new videos from All Things Quality.